David Almond died last October. His brother was seriously injured.
The state says neglect and abuse from their father and his girlfriend are to blame. The brothers were under the watch of the Department of Children and Family. Today, the head of the investigating agency addressed the warning signs that were missed. 12 News reporter Brandon TRUITT working this one for us live in Boston today. And Brandon, the question so many of us have, how did so much go so wrong here?
Well, Brian and Kim, the state admits this was a failure really across the board. There's supposed to be checks in place for children under the state's watch, but leaders admit that these brothers fell through the cracks, and we know one of them died because of it. The findings of an internal investigation coming to light Wednesday morning, the state acknowledging their systems failed.
The missteps that occurred in this case can be prevented from ever repeating.
In its 107-page report, the Office of the Child Advocate found multiple errors in judgment and protocols, compounded, they say, with operational changes due to the pandemic. 14-year-old David Almond was a triplet, each on the autism spectrum. The brothers had been in and out of their father's custody for years. The report shows two of the boys moved back in his Fall River apartment last March. Governor Charlie Baker issued the state of emergency for the COVID pandemic just 3 days later. That order allowed in-person check-ins only for children classified as high risk, which the Almond brothers were not.
I think that is one of the major errors in this case.
The report finds the father staged virtual check-ins and lied to the school district about the boys' absences in virtual learning.
I failed my responsibility because this happened under my watch, so I'm responsible. This kid's dead. I got to live with that.
2 DCF employees in the Fall River office have been fired. The school department now requiring all students to turn on their cameras. Just one of the many changes aiming to keep something like this from happening again.
I think it is fair to say that it is only the father and his girlfriend who took intentional acts to prevent the boys from being seen.
And the boy's father and his girlfriend are in jail. They're charged with second-degree murder and child neglect. Today we learned the official cause of David's death was starvation. And Brian and Kim, it's important to note the 2 other brothers are fully in the state's custody now.
Brandon, this is just a heartbreaking story. You mentioned earlier in your report only 2 of the 3 brothers moved back into the apartment with their father last March. Why not all 3 of them?
Well, Kim, the report revealed today that the 3rd triplet didn't want to go back. He had expressed frustrations and concerns over his father's girlfriend. I asked the state today how that could not have raised more red flags. They say, and they admit in that report, that records of those conversations were lost. They were overlooked. It is yet another example of just how much went wrong in this case, Kim.
Brandon TRUITT live for us in Boston with that heartbreaking report. Our thanks to you.
Internal investigation into the death of a Fall River teen is over. The state says 14-year-old David Almond starved to death last year.
Police have arrested the boy's father and his girlfriend. Both are charged with murder and neglect. Today's report shows the state missed several red flags that could have prevented this.
12 News reporter Brandon TRUITT is in Boston with what charges the state is promising to make.
Today's news conference was thorough and emotional at times. The state has systems in place to check in on its most vulnerable children, but today they acknowledge a lot went wrong in this case. A months-long internal investigation coming to an end Wednesday morning into how the state missed so many signs that something was wrong.
David loved and was loved by his brothers. He was a source of comfort and protection for them.
14-year-old David Almond was a triplet, each of the boys on the autism spectrum. The brothers had been in and out of the state's custody, but in March of last year, 2 of them returned to live in this Fall River apartment with their father. The state shut down starting 3 days later.
The missteps that occurred in this case can be prevented.
In its 107-page report, the Office of the Child Advocate says the mistakes made created a perfect storm. During the pandemic, only children deemed to live in high-risk environments received in-person visits. The Almond brothers not given that classification despite being taken from their father before.
I think that is one of the major errors in this case.
The state claims the father was deceptive, often staging virtual check-ins.
And so there was not a clear view of the state of both David and Michael.
The superintendent of Fall River Schools saying the father lied to them too.
Parents were purposely logging on. We never had eyes on. They lied to us. We made contacts every week, and they gave us nothing but lies and deceit and stories. Foolishly, because we're humans and we want the best, we believe them.
In the wake of David's death, students are required to be on camera during class. Just one of the many changes looking to keep this from happening again. And 2 DCF employees from the Fall River branch have been fired. The boy's father and his girlfriend are in jail charged with second-degree murder and child neglect. The 2 other brothers are now fully in the state's custody. In Boston, Brendan TRUITT, 12 News.